Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is the third of my sort of rambling chats. I just thought for a change I would just, do things a bit different, and it's quite nice to not have to sort of, I don't know, sometimes I feel I'm having to perform a little bit to the channel, and I just thought it's nice to have a bit more of me, I suppose, me as me, rambling away, enjoy my pipe as well, which is a very nice thing to do because it's thought-provoking and it gives me time to think. Anyway, it's funny how much we have allowed the government and authority to meddle in our affairs. And that's really what I want to talk about today. Is they just meddle, don't they? They just meddle in everything. I notice in the Light paper, excellent magazine, by the way, newspaper, by the way. I notice in the centre spread, it talks about the ways in which the government have, well, kind of meddled in our affairs, and I thought that was interesting to have a look at some of their things, and I've listed some of them and added a few of my own. And I think it's interesting that we just like accept it. And you see, what sparked this off is that my lovely partner, the lovely Julia, has got to change her car at the moment, or have her car fixed, or decide what she's going to do. And of course we all have to have our MOTs done, don't we? And then if you get a new car, you've got to switch the insurance over and that sort of thing. And it's a pain. And then I think, hang on, if you go back in time 100 years or 200 years when people just had a horse and cart and what have you, they didn't have insurance. They just got on and they travelled around. They didn't have a licence to go and travel on the roads. These were the King's Roads, or the King's Highway, as they were called. And then they had the commons, which were the public commons. The land was ours, effectively, apart from, a few landowners came along and said, no, it's mine. And then you realise, no, it's all the creators, actually. Thank you very much. And if you say you own it, can I see the receipt in which the creator has sold it to you? It can't be done. So anyway, meddling, I thought, yes, why do we need all these things? We don't take, enough responsibility for ourselves. We let all these other people do everything. Now, I often talk about we've got to take back the responsibility, and I think that's true. But let's have a look at some of these things that people, these government officials and everybody else wants to meddle in our lives and treat us like children. And that is the problem. We need to grow up, and we need to say to them, no, actually, you don't need to treat me like a child. I am actually a grown-up, and I'm able to look after myself, thanks very much. So, you needn't meddle in my life anymore. So one of those, of course, is justice. We need justice, of course. Somebody does you harm or takes something that belongs to you or damages you. We need real justice. And trial by jury, trial by your peers, is, I think, real justice. We've seen how the courts become corrupted and they meddle in your affairs, and we know with the council tax, of course, it's not even the courts that issue the liability, and so that you get a liability order from a council. Well, that's just the claimant, isn't it? The claimant saying, oh, you owe me some money, so I'm sending you a liability order. I mean, I could just send a liability order in that case to anybody I damn well like and say, well, you owe me, you watched my video, you haven't donated anything, you swine, so I'm going to send you a liability order. Of course it doesn't stand up in law, and I don't know why the council think that they can get away with it by sending out a liability order. It's not even signed by anybody. Nobody's taking responsibility for it. It's just meddling, isn't it? It's meddling in our ordinary affairs. Tax, of course, is something that most people absolutely find abhorrent. And I was reading that tax really came in, the type of tax that we have now, in the First World War. And of course, taxes always came about during the war. The Peasants' Revolt back in, whenever it was, 1480 or whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's some 1490, whatever, anyway, it doesn't matter. and I've just read a book about it and everything. You know, history just goes in one ear, goes out the other, like common sense. But you know, that the peasants' revolt back then, that was a tax revolt. The poll tax, it was the third poll tax, and people were penalised again. But it was because the government wanted money to go to war. They keep going, we want to go to war. Why don't you just live in peace? Stop going to war and beating each other up and being greedy and all of that. Don't stop meddling in other people's affairs. Let them have their bit of land and stop meddling about. But no, they can't do it. We pay 70% of our income in tax. No wonder they want us to work hard and go out all the time and not have a life and not enjoy ourselves and not celebrate and not buy things that we want to buy, because everything is taxed and it's meddling in our lives. And in the end, you just go, I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick of it. Why would I want to be in that system? Open borders is another thing. We live on an island. And clearly, the island can only support a certain number of people. And it would be nice to be self-sufficient, would it not? So that we haven't got to keep buying stuff from abroad. OK, buy the stuff that we can't grow over here, like, I don't know, oranges or spices. That's fair enough. You know, some of those luxurious things would be lovely. Bananas is another one. It's very difficult to grow bananas here. It may be possible, you know, in certain greenhouses and things, but it's not your everyday occurrence. You don't go down to the park and see banana trees everywhere, not in this country anyway. And but it would be nice to be self-sufficient so we could grow enough and have a lot of, you know, as we keep talking about, more farmers, more food, nice farms around the towns growing the sufficient food locally produced and what have you. And by the way, check out Mark Byford. He's going on tour with Fork the System to try and persuade farmers and others to do just that, that we need to be growing more food in this country. But open borders, you know, you let all sorts of people come in, and it's, you know, it's nice to have people from different parts of the world come in and share their culture and the way they do things, as long as they respect our culture and the way we do things. I haven't a problem with that. But we've grown up as an island nation, with all our different ways. We don't want that obliterated by others coming in saying, no, too late, mate, we're bringing our religion and our culture and our way of doing things and our laws to supersede yours. Well, that's not right, not proper, is it? It's not fit for purpose. Corruption, of course, is another way that we've seen the meddle, and corruption is rife in the police, in the judiciary system, in the council, all sorts of corruption. And so you don't know who to go to when you face corruption. I mean, we had that situation, did we not, with the so-called pandemic, in which we were told that we had to take a certain medical intervention. And actually, it turns out that that medical intervention was not the best thing to do. So, but who do you go to report that? And people have been trying to report that and say, actually, this has been a terrible thing. And you go to the police, they don't want to know. You go to your MP, they don't want to know. Why would you want to be in a system in which anybody that you go to talk to about the problems with corruption, they don't want to know? It's not a system that I want to be in, thank you very much. I'd be out of that. Pause whilst I smoke the pipe. Extortion. I don't know why I have trouble reading that word. Extortion. That's torsion done by your ex. So have a word with your ex and say, stop torturing me. Extortion. Well, we've seen that, you know, of course, it's almost becoming a daily occurrence now, isn't it? Bang on the door. Oh, hello. Debt collectors, enforcement agents, bailiffs. You know, it's like that's a norm now. That shouldn't be a norm, should it? We shouldn't have these sort of people coming along saying, I'm going to take your goods. Well, for one thing, if you live in a private house and you're not a business, you don't have any goods. Goods are those things that are in shops that you buy. They're my goods for sale. You have private property. So if they say on their bit of paper that says, you know, we're coming for you, we're coming for you, we're going to take you away, ha ha. And it says, we're coming for your goods. You just remind them politely, excuse me, I'm not a business, thanks very much. I'm not in the world of commerce. You go elsewhere because I don't have any goods. Thanks very much. That's for businesses, that's for corporations. But they do like to extort you, don't they? And of course, lying is rife at the moment. People just seem to lie left, right and centre. I'm not talking about going to bed at night time. I'm talking about, you know, the lies that the government tell you, or they obfuscate. Is that how you pronounce it? Obfuscate. Lovely word. They don't quite tell you the truth, do they? They omit things, or they sort of go round it. So you think they've answered your question, they obfuscate, and they haven't answered your question at all. And they deny the thing. You can ask them point blank, measly salad words that these politicians use. It's a nightmare. Free speech, of course. Well, we've seen the online safety bill now. There's people like me, 2 years in prison, thanks very much, for just having an opinion. Because if somebody goes, oh, I don't like your opinion, mate. So, well, tough. Well, I may not like your opinion, but why is it that me, because I happen to put my face up online, is the one that's got to suffer? We're seeing that more and more, that people are, being threatened. Again, meddling in our world, in a world that they have no right to meddle into, and it's a nuisance, and we just shouldn't put up with it. Why should we put up with their meddling? We're born onto the earth. We suddenly appear, don't we? And at some point, we are aware of ourselves. I don't know whether that's 6, 7, or 8 years old, something like that. We've been around. Our subconscious has been operating. We've been operating in the subconscious, not really knowing who we are. We still think we're attached to our mothers, or we're still part of something else. And then we have this self-awareness, and we suddenly realize, oh yes, I'm here. I'm in this body, and I'm peering out, and there's all these weird things. And people are telling you how the world runs. And you're not having to find out for yourself. And then you've got these meddlers who are saying, but there's all these rules. You've got to adhere to these rules. And you think, well, you're like me. You are born onto the earth, and now all of a sudden you think that you have the power over me, some authority over me. Where do you get that from? Is it your creator, whoever it created you, telling you that you've got the power over me? I don't think so. I can't see where you've got that power from. We're all on the same, whatever it is, a planet, if it's a planet, or a plane, or whatever, an undulating world. We're all on the same footing, but some people think that they are above themselves, and that there is no reason for that. I don't want them meddling in my life, thank you very much. That's what I'm trying to get to in this. Free speech, yes, so stopping you talking. Water, of course, we've seen how the water has been manipulated and poisoned and all sorts of stuff. And then you've got these municipal water treatment centres who are sending you water, and it's all full of all sorts of stuff. And they say, no, it's drinking water. And you go, yes, you might be able to drink it, i.e. you might be able to stick it into your mouth and swallow it, but is it actually doing you any good? That's the question I want to know. Is it doing you any good? And if it's not doing any good, thank you very much, I'd rather not pay for that. I can wash in it, maybe, wash some, the car, the cat, but I don't know that I want to wash my body in it, or I don't know that I want to drink it. Thanks very much. Another way that these swine meddle in our lives. I'm smoking some of this, right? This is tobacco. It's my choice to smoke the tobacco. If I want to smoke the tobacco, it's my choice. But no, they're meddling in our lives now and saying, oh no, we're going to put a bloody great big warning on the tobacco. As you notice, I cover them up because it's a subconscious message to tell you, you will die. You will die. Talking to your subconscious, saying, if you read this, and it's an instruction. That's what it is. Well, I'm not going to take their instruction, thanks very much. And of course, they've taxed it to the hilt. And they've now brought in this law, if you're 14 or 15 or whatever, you will never, as you grow up, you will never, ever be able to buy tobacco. I don't think it's going to last. Tobacco, I've got a book somewhere, I flashed it on the screen yesterday, and it talks about how people have been smoking tobacco for eons. Eons. Not E.ON, the energy suppliers, not them. I don't even know if they're still going. But people have been smoking. These meddlers should not be taking your choice away. That's absolutely wrong. The air we breathe, I just rattled through the last. The air we breathe, of course, they're spraying the skies and shoving in all sorts of things because they want to be rid of us. Education, where we've seen how children should not be at school being indoctrinated with their version of events and their philosophy, their morals and things. I think every family ought to be able to bring up their family and their children, their offspring, how they want to bring them into this world. It would be a much more interesting world if everybody has their own different opinion. You say, well, what do you believe in? Oh, I believe that. We're not indoctrinated this one way, one size fits all, the sort of globalists, one way to do everything. Well, no, everybody's an individual, everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got their own way of doing things, and that's what makes it interesting to talk to people. But if they're all bloody robots, it's not very interesting, is it? It's boring. Stop meddling in our life. And of course, the last one of food, as I mentioned just now with Mark and his trip round, which you should go and support, of course. That's it, food. It's all adulterated, it's all filled with rubbish, it's not even food. And now they want to sort of get rid of cows and pigs and saying, you're not supposed to eat this stuff, you're not supposed to. Well, again, it's my choice, isn't it? Where do you get the authority from? That's what I don't understand. You get the authority if you give it to them. You sign up to the electoral roll. If you say, I want to be a person and be in their system, if you want to say that the government has the all power, if you accept that they have the power, well, don't accept it. That I can only fear and give authority to the creator, whatever that is. I don't know really what it is. It might be God, it might be the universe, it might be the one, it might be, I don't know, the ether. I don't know what the creator is. It hasn't actually zipped down in front of me and said, hi Richard, I'm your real father, I'm the one that created you and everything that you actually see. But what I do know is it's not man, it's not another bloke somewhere walking about, and it's not government, and it's not the council, it's not the police, it's not the judges. They didn't create everything, and they are therefore below the creator. Whatever the creator is, they are below that. And the creator created man, and man has created all these man-made things that are now meddling in us. They're so below us, it's not true. They shouldn't be meddling in our lives. And it's about time we all just put our foot down and say, oh, for goodness sake, stop meddling, you meddlers. Let me smoke my pipe in peace, eat the food I want, breathe the air I like, drink clean water, educate my children the way I was, and stop extortionating me, that's not a word, to get money out from me to pay for your stupid system. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go and smoke my pipe and calm down. Till next time, goodbye.